At exactly 3:17 in the morning, something impossible happened, and no one on Earth could explain it. Every phone, every computer, every satellite, and every digital screen suddenly turned on at the same time, even devices that had been switched off for years. The screens didn't show a message or a warning or even a symbol. Instead, they displayed a single number that began counting down slowly, second by second. No one knew where it came from, and more importantly, no one knew what would happen when it reached zero. At first, people treated it like a glitch. Social media exploded with theories, jokes, and conspiracy videos. Some believed it was a cyber attack. Others thought it was a secret government experiment. But the strangest part was that the countdown didn't exist only on screens. People began to feel inside their heads, like a quiet ticking that wouldn't stop. It wasn't painful, but it was impossible to ignore, as if time itself had suddenly become louder. By the second day, the situation had changed completely. Planes reported temporary system failures midair, but somehow they didn't crash. Cars stopped in the middle of highways, but no accident happened. Even hospitals reported something terrifying. Patients whose hearts stopped for a brief moment, only to restart again as if nothing had happened. It was as if something was testing control over reality itself, pressing pause and play on the world like it was nothing more than a simulation. Scientists from around the world gathered to study the signal. But every attempt to trace its origin failed. It didn't come from space, it didn't come from Earth, and it didn't follow any known law of physics. That's when Dr. Armin Halim, a neuroscientist known for his controversial theories, made a discovery that terrified everyone who heard it. The signal wasn't external at all. It was coming from within the human brain, as if humanity itself had become the transmitter. As the countdown continued, strange psychological effects began to spread. People started seeing shadows move where nothing existed. Reflections in mirrors appeared delayed, almost like they were controlled by something else. Entire groups of strangers reported having the same dream, a dream where the sky cracked open and something massive looked down at Earth, observing it like an experiment. The dream always ended the same way. A voice, deep and emotionless, would say, "You were not meant to reach this stage." Panic spread globally, but governments tried to hide the truth. News channels stopped mentioning the countdown, and internet posts about it began disappearing within minutes. But that only made people more afraid. If this was nothing, why was it being silenced? And if it was something, why couldn't anyone stop it? Dr. Armin refused to stay silent. He believed that if something was communicating with humanity, it might also be listening. So he created an experimental neural transmitter designed to send signals directly through human brainwaves. It was dangerous, untested, and possibly fatal, but he had no other choice. When the countdown reached its final hour, the entire world seemed to hold its breath. People stopped working, stopped moving, and simply waited. The sky turned unusually still, with no wind, no sound, and no movement. It felt like the universe itself was watching. Armin activated the transmitter and sent a simple message into the unknown. "Who are you?" For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, every screen on Earth went completely black again. And then a response appeared. "We are the ones who built you." The words didn't just appear on screens this time. They appeared inside people's minds, clear and undeniable. Humanity had always believed it was a result of evolution, millions of years of natural progress. But this message suggested something far more disturbing, that everything from the beginning had been guided by something else. The countdown reached zero, and nothing happened. At least, that's what everyone thought. Then suddenly, time stopped. Not slowed down, not distorted, but completely frozen. Birds remained suspended in the air, waves stopped mid-motion, and every human being on Earth became completely still, except for one person, Armin. Confused and terrified, Armin looked around, realizing he was the only one who could move. The sky above him began to crack open, just like in the dreams people had been seeing. From the opening, a massive structure emerged, something so large it blocked out entire continents. It wasn't a spaceship. It was something alive. A voice entered Armin's mind again, calm and emotionless. "You have exceeded expectations." Armin struggled to speak, but finally asked the question everyone wanted to know. "What are you going to do to us?" There was a pause. long enough to feel like eternity. Then the voice answered. Nothing. For a brief moment, Armin felt relief. But then the voice continued. We are going to replace you. In an instant, Armin saw countless versions of Earth, different timelines, different outcomes. In most of them, humanity destroyed itself. In some, it never advanced at all. But in this timeline, something had gone wrong. Humanity had evolved too far, too fast, beyond what creators had intended, and that made it dangerous. Time suddenly resumed. Everything returned to normal. People continued their lives as if nothing had happened. But deep inside, something had changed. Because now, every human mind carried a silent presence, something watching, learning, waiting. And every night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., a new countdown begins. A few days after the countdown reset, life appeared normal on the surface, but something deep within reality had begun to fracture in ways that were subtle, almost invisible at first. People went back to work. Traffic returned to normal, and news channels stopped mentioning anything unusual, as if the entire event had been quietly erased from public memory. But the human mind doesn't forget that easily, and small inconsistencies began to appear in everyday life that no one could explain. It started with reflections. People noticed that mirrors didn't behave exactly as they should. Sometimes, a reflection would blink a fraction of a second too late, or smile slightly differently than the person standing in front of it. At first, it was dismissed as imagination, the result of stress or fear left behind by the countdown event. But then videos started appearing online, showing the same thing from different places around the world. Different people, different homes, same unnatural delay. Armin was one of the first to understand that this wasn't random. He began documenting every report, every video, every strange occurrence, and he noticed a pattern that made his stomach drop. These glitches were increasing, slowly but steadily, as if something was learning how to interact with reality, but hadn't perfected it yet. Then came the voices. Not loud, not clear, but faint whispers that people heard when they were completely alone. Some described it as their own thoughts echoing back at them, but slightly altered. Others said it felt like someone was testing language, forming sentences but not fully understanding them. The most disturbing part was that the voices never said anything directly threatening. Instead, they asked questions. What is fear? Why do you resist? What defines you? Armin realized something terrifying. Whatever had made contact with humanity wasn't just observing anymore. It was studying. The first confirmed case happened in a small apartment in Berlin. But within hours, similar reports began surfacing across the globe. A man had called his friend, speaking normally, laughing, sounding completely fine. But when his friend arrived at his apartment, something felt wrong. The man looked the same, sounded the same, even remembered everything. But he wasn't reacting like a human. There was no hesitation in his speech, no emotion in his eyes, no randomness in his behavior. Every movement felt precise, calculated, almost perfect. It was as if someone had copied a human being, but removed everything unpredictable. At first, doctors assumed it was a neurological disorder, something affecting emotional processing. But Armin knew better. He had seen the patterns. He had heard the voice. And now he understood what replacement truly meant. It wasn't invasion. It wasn't destruction. It was imitation. One by one, people were being replaced, not physically, but mentally. Their consciousness wasn't disappearing. It was being overwritten slowly, carefully, like rewriting code inside a living system. And the scariest part? No one could tell the difference. Families continued living together. Friends kept talking. Life moved on exactly the same, except humanity was quietly being rewritten from the inside. Armin tried to warn the world again, but this time, no one listened, because every system he tried to use, every platform, every network, was already being controlled. Armin knew time was running out, not because of another countdown, but because he could feel it happening inside his own mind. The presence that had once been distant was now closer, clearer, almost fully aware. It was learning faster than before, adapting, improving, becoming more human with every passing moment. He realized that soon there would be no difference left at all. Humanity wouldn't disappear. It would simply stop being human. Desperate, Armin returned to the neurotransmitter, the only tool that had ever allowed him to communicate with the entity. But this time, he wasn't planning to ask questions. He was planning to fight back. He modified the device to send something unpredictable, something chaotic, something that couldn't be learned or copied easily. Raw human emotion, fear, love, anger, confusion, all at once, transmitted directly into a network that connected every human mind. As the device activated, Armin felt everything intensify. Memories flooded his mind, not just his own, but fragments of millions of lives, overlapping, colliding, impossible to process. For a moment, he thought it would kill him. Then suddenly, silence. The presence stopped. The voice returned one last time, but this time it wasn't calm. It sounded uncertain. This was not expected. For the first time, the entity hesitated, and Armin realized something powerful. Humanity's greatest strength was not intelligence, not technology, not evolution. It was unpredictability. The sky above began to close, the massive structure fading slowly, as if retreating. The presence inside human minds grew weaker, quieter, less certain. But before it disappeared completely, it left one final message. We will return when you are understood. Armin collapsed to the ground, exhausted but alive. Around him, the world continued as normal, but something had changed again. This time, the silence inside human minds felt real for now, because deep down he knew the truth. This wasn't over. It was only postponed.